Hello internet people, my name is Robert, and in this comprehensive step-by-step tutorial we will create a full sales funnel including everything you need. We're going to start this course by creating an opt-in page, or some also call it a squeeze page. The goal of this page is to get visitors' email address in exchange for a freebie that we will provide to them. Then we will build a thank you page for those that sign up, and we will provide a simple steps on how they can receive their freebie. After, we will need to send them an email with the freebie. This will be done automatically as soon as they sign up. Then we will create a sales page where we describe the offer and the value of the product or service. If a visitor is interested, they will be able to go to the order page where they will leave their details and pay for the product. And then there will be a thank you page where they can download the product. At the end, we will create a sales email that will automatically send out to contacts, and that's basically to get them on the sales page, and that way we can sell them products. So to get started, just head to the description of this video and click on the first link. This is the tool we will be using, Systeme.io, which is also the sponsor of this video. It's not only a full-scale sales funnel builder, but it also has email marketing features built in. On top of that, you can also create your own online courses or even launch your own affiliate program to promote your course or products. And the best thing is that it has a free plan to get you started. So let's just create an account with Systeme. And you can just click on Get Started for free here, and then you need to enter your email address and then just get started for free. Now you can see you're gonna receive an email from Systeme, and then you can log in. Let's take a look. So this is the email you receive. Just click on the link and this will confirm your account. And now you can set the password as well. I'm gonna add the password and then just verifying that I'm a robot, and then click on save. And this is your Systeme.io dashboard, and we're gonna start with funnels. Just click on funnels, and this is where all the magic happens. This is where we're gonna create some pages where people can land on, and also the checkout, and everything happens in funnels. And then we have another section that's super important for this tutorial is the emails and campaigns. That's another one we really need. So go ahead and click on create. Here you can choose what are you doing. So if you're building an audience, selling, or just creating a funnel from scratch. The only thing that this does, it gives you a bit of structure if you choose one or the other. So I'm gonna give this funnel a name, and then I'm gonna choose build an audience because that's what we're gonna start with. And then you need to choose your currency. In my case, I'm gonna use US dollar, but if your clients are in another country, then you should use that currency. So let's click on create. And the great thing about Systeme is that you get so many templates. You can see that there's a lot of different templates for this squeeze page or opt-in page or landing page. There's many names for the same thing, but basically we're gonna give something to our visitors in exchange for their email. So that's all this squeeze page does. So let's take a look. There's so many options here. And if you're interested in one of them, all you have to do is click on preview here, and you can preview the whole page like this. You can see this one is quite long. I want to keep it quite simple, and I'm going to select this one. So I'm going to select it. And now I need to give it a name. This is just the name for the page. It's not going to show up anywhere else. And then you can see that you have here the URL path. And this is really important. I would change it from something like this to more descriptive. And for example, like this website -launch checklist. So you need to use dashes instead of spaces, but otherwise it's the same way. So just type it in. I would also keep them all lowercase. Once you're done that, let's save it. And now we can go inside of it. Let me close these tabs. And this is basically the Systeme website builder. And here you can add elements and write your copy, change everything what you see. So let's just start by explaining in short how the structure works here. The way this builder works is that you have sections. Inside of section, you have rows. And inside of rows, you might have other rows or elements. And elements are just like text, images, videos, and things like that. That's how it usually works. And then you also have the elements here on the left. And you can see there's a lot of different elements here. Some are like columns, some are specific to a form or social. But basically from here, you can just grab any of these elements, let's say the video, and drop it here anywhere. And you can see now it added a video here. In this case, I don't want this, so let's delete it. You can do it by going to the top right corner and clicking on this trash can icon and then confirm it. And you also have some blocks here. These are like pre-built blocks where you can see that they already have all kinds of things inside, so all kinds of elements and forms, and you can add your images and stuff like that. So it's just an easy way for you to build a page quickly with professional help. So let's start by updating the background. So that you can do in the settings here, you see at the top. And you can see that there's a few different settings, but let's start with the background image. And I'm gonna just remove this image because I want to keep it super simple. I don't want to distract people with images like that. But what I will do is I'll add background color. So if you click on this one, you can choose the color. I like to use something grayish. So usually somewhere here, like for example, like this. And anytime you need to use the same color, you can just come and grab this hex number and you can copy it and place it anywhere else. And that way you have always the same color. So I'm going to select this one. And now you can see that the background is gray. You might think, well, this is weird. It's kind of squashed here. But if you click on this thing here, there's a little gray thing here. I don't know how you call this one, but if you click on it, you can see the page in a bigger screen. And this is how it's going to appear on users' screens. And if you need it back, it's there. It's a bit hard to see because I have a gray background. All right, so let's start by updating this template. So I'm going to start deleting parts that I don't like. So for example, this one, I don't need it. I'm going to just delete it. Same thing. Actually, this whole row, I don't just need it. Let's delete it like this. Yes. But this part I will keep because this is where my text will live. So let's change that text. You can just select it and you can see, you can start typing any text here as you would in Word or any other program. So I prepared here the title and you have more options here on the left to actually change things. So for example, if you're not happy with the font size, you can adjust it here to bigger, smaller, whatever you want. I would always keep the font type to same font as the page unless you really just want to have in one place slightly different fonts. And we're going to update the font in a little bit later. Then you have some other options here and you can play around with them. What are important is the margin, which basically just adds a bit of space at the bottom or left, right, or top. So if I add to top, you can see that it adds a bit of margin on top. The other important thing is also the padding. And this is a bit harder to explain, but you'll notice here, for example, there's no space between this blue bar and the text, but I can also extend it by adding bottom padding, you see? And the difference between these two is quite small, but basically padding is inside the element and margin pushes everything outside the element. But I don't need the padding, so I'm gonna change that back to 0 like this. All right, so I also don't need all these three things. I just need a text block, so I'll delete all of these three. Let's delete them. And just gonna delete the last one here. Okay, and now I need to actually enter a text block here, so I'm gonna do that. This way there's space for my text. I'm gonna add it, I'm gonna copy paste it in here because I have it in a Word file. And now I can change the image. Just click on the image and then you can see on the left here when you select it, you can change the image. So let's do that. I'm gonna delete this one and upload my own one. Right now there's nothing in my images obviously, but let's upload it. And I have here checklist, gonna upload it. Now I'm able to select it and insert it in the page. If you want to link this image to something, then you could add a URL here and open it in a new window. But because this is just for decoration, so I'm not gonna do that. Also, if you're not happy with the size, you can adjust that here, and there's a few other settings here. The only thing I want to do here, because this image is quite small, I'm gonna center align it, because when we look at a bigger screen, you see there's a bit difference here. And same thing, I just noticed on the bigger screen, it's clearly that I need to add I want to left align this text. So I've selected it, and then I can just scroll down and make it on left. And now let's take a look how it looks like. Yep, great. It's a bit too close to the border here, so I'm gonna add a bit of padding here. Not margin, but a bit of padding to the left and right. Like, let's say 10 is in, no, actually, I'll just add right margin, just like this. 10 is fine. Now, if I look at the page, all right, now it looks much better like this one. This text is slightly off low. Let me change that. I'm gonna do something else, something maybe like this. All right, much better. Now they're on two separate lines. That's how it should be. And now we can update the CTA. So let's click on the button and now we can update the text. Let's scroll to where we can update it. So you see here button text. Let's add this one, download the checklist. When the visitor clicks on this button, we will open up a pop-up. There they can enter their name and email. That way we can send this free checklist to them. All right, the button looks good. The only thing is about the button, I wanted to open a pop-up and it's already pre-selected because this template has it. We're gonna update the pop-up in just a second. I just wanna adjust this one because now it has white text. And if you wanna have some sort of a copyright text here at the bottom, I would change it, but let's add something like tips with punch, all rights reserved, blah, blah, blah. And then we're gonna make this black text color. Actually, just grayish. We don't need it to be so in your face. So it's just there. I'm quite happy with this page right like this, even if it's super simple. Let's now update the pop-ups. Here at the top, you have this pop-up. So if you click on it, you have already one pop-up that you can view. So just click on this eye icon and you see that something appeared. Okay, great. Now we can update the text here and just adjust it to what we want. So I'm going to update the text. Here you can see that they're asking for last name, which for me it doesn't make sense. I want to have their first name. So we can click on the settings icon and you here on left you'll be able to adjust. So for example here, input type, you should select first name. And then you can also add a placeholder. Placeholder is what you see here. So if I remove the name, you see that the placeholder changes. So I'm going to add it back. And then let's update button as well. Just the text like this. And I'm going to remove this because I don't think it's necessary, like this. And let's adjust the image as well. So I'm going to add my own image here. I select the image and now I can drop a file here, but I'm just going to reuse the checklist like this. Perfect. Then for this button, make sure that you also have a send form as the action. That way, Systeme will know that you actually want to store this email and then do something with it. And here you can also enable the double opt-in for this form, but I don't think we need it. You'll see shortly why. A double opt-in means that a user who signs up for an email marketing list then receives a confirmation email, which includes a link to click and confirm the subscription. Before they confirm, they are not added to the mailing list. This means you will have higher quality leads, but lower sign-up rate. The pop-up looks good to me. The only thing is I haven't mentioned before, but you can also view this on mobile, which is super important that you check that everything works on mobile. So you see here, the image doesn't work that well. So we can actually just hide this on mobile. So we come here and at the bottom, if you scroll down, you can see item visible on. So if I check the mobile, so I'll uncheck it, you'll see that it doesn't appear anymore, and that's great. Also on mobile, what I see is this close button is kind of on top of this text, so that really looks bad. So let's go and add some padding. So I need to select the pop-up settings and let's add padding to the top. It already has 5, but I want to add a bit more, like 40 or something. So you can see that the close button is above the text. Okay, looks good. We can exit the pop-up just by clicking somewhere else. Let's click on pop-ups like this. Now we can also see this page on mobile. So I can see it actually looks really nice here. It's up to you if you like this padding, this much of padding. You could also reduce it on mobile. So for example here, this block has some padding, so we can from left and right remove it. So there's a bit more space for it to breathe. Okay, everything looks good, but you see this powered by Systeme.io. You can also disable that. I mean, it's a nice initiative by Systeme, but actually it's a bit in the way here. What's great about it is that it's an affiliate link basically. So if somebody uses that to sign up, you will get some money if they actually sign up for the paid plan. But to be honest, we're already selling something, so it's a bit weird that we would show it here. So I'm going to disable it. Another thing here, if you go to settings, you can change the fonts. So that's what I want to show you. So Google fonts are a bit nicer looking, and I like some other ones. You can use Rubik, for example. If I change it here, you see the whole page changes. So let me also go to like this, you'll see. So now we have a new font. So in settings, again, you can adjust things. You can adjust the color of links, text color, language, also the background. We already took a look. And this is important part, is the SEO text. So you want to make this proper, because this is what you see in the tab like this. So here, for example, here you see editor, but for your page, if you would just leave this, it would just say squeeze page, and that's not optimal. So let's adjust that. So I'm gonna just name it. The title will be the same as the big title here, and then you can add some description if you want to. And for keywords, this is not really necessary, but you can add some keywords here, author. And then if you want to share this on social media, you can also add image, and that way when it's shared on Facebook, for example, they can show this image as next to the post itself. Another thing I want to show you, you can also add tracking code. So for example, if you have Google Analytics and you want to track this page, how many people come to it and stuff like that, you can add here the JavaScript code. I'm pretty happy with this page. Just remember to save the changes, and now we can actually preview it by clicking on this eye icon like this. You can see it says this is preview, don't use this URL, but it looks really nice actually. Very simple but effective. So if I click on this now, you see there's a pop-up and just a question. You can enter your first name and email, and then you can get the checklist. Okay, so that's the step one. I'm gonna close this. Let's go back to the funnels view. Next, we need to create a thank you page for the people who sign up, so that they don't feel like they're being left hanging. And next, we need to create the thank you page. It's already here, so we can just select the template we want to use. Again, just use something simple. I like this one here, so I'm going to select it. And just in case you didn't have this thank you page, you can also create a step here on the left, and that way you can give it a name and then choose the type, and you need the opt-in thank you page. So again, give this a name and also the URL. For this one, I'm going to use website launch checklist, thank you, like this. And save. And now we can edit this page. Let's go and see how it looks like. Okay, again, I want to remove the background. I feel like it distracts people, so I'm gonna click on settings and just scroll down, remove this image and give it a background. And as I mentioned before, you could just use that code. I think it was E4E4E4, so I'm gonna use the same hex code here and use the same background. And since we're in settings, let's also remove this affiliate link from Systeme, and also let's give it a title, and let's make sure we have the same font as for the first page. So for me it was Rubik, and the rest settings are okay. Let's change the image by clicking on the image, and then I'm going to remove this and add a new one. Again, I'm going to use the same image I already have, like this. In this case, I actually like this title. I'm happy with this. I'm going to keep it. This one as well. The only thing here I want to change is this text here. One tip I want to share is that when you copy paste text, and if you use Control Shift and V, it will paste the text in the same format as it was before there, because otherwise it just uses the format from my worksheet. But actually you see it's black here, and if I use Control Shift V like that, great, now it looks the same. And basically on this thank you page, we're just saying that, hey, check your email box because it might be in spam, and then you need to click on the link to get your free checklist. So one more thing here for the policy, let's make it different color. Again, just some sort of a grayish, so it blends a bit into the background like this. And then obviously change this part to my website. So something like that. And then save the changes and make sure to double check how this looks like on mobile. All right, here it's very thin, you can see, but still works all right. So if you want to adjust something here, just go ahead. But for me, this looks all right. So I'm going to save the changes. Go back to desktop mode. And one thing we need to kind of do here, this won't appear on this page, but I want you to add a text block like this. Doesn't matter where it goes. And then you need to select the text and make it a link. And now what we can do is upload anything to Systeme. Here you can see this upload icon. So let's click on it. And now we can drop any file here. So I'm going to select this PDF, which is the checklist. And we're going to upload it here like this. You can see it's quite a big file and it's there. Now, what you offer to people really depends on your business, but usually it's a digital product like a book or a checklist. And for this tutorial, just grab any PDF and use that as a placeholder. Meanwhile, I will leave a link in the description to a great video about how to create what they call a lead magnet, which is basically means that you give a freebie to people. So checklist, any kind of PDF, digital products, stuff like that. All that in the description. So now we can insert it. If we click on this button, it will save it. The great thing is now we can click on this link and grab this whole URL. And if you want to see it, it's basically the PDF which will open up in a Systeme. This way you can add this later on to anywhere. Basically, we need this URL for your email. So I'm gonna just save this somewhere. So I'm just gonna paste it in my text editor like this so that I have it for later. And now we can delete this text like this. All right, save changes. Let's take a look how it looks like for Reels. Yep, looks good. This is really clear when people will get this. And in case your domain looks weird and you don't have your name here, so if you want to change this part, you can do that in the settings. So I'm going to close this page. Let's exit the funnels and we are going to go into the settings here. If I click on my icon and then settings, you can see that here there's a lot of all kinds of stuff you can set. But what's important here is two places we need to adjust. That's later on payment gateways. We need also mailing settings and also account settings. In account settings, you can change the subdomain. So in this case, I am using Tips with Punch, but maybe you want to use something else. Also, you have ability to change this URL so that you don't have system.io at the end, but it's just your URL. But then you need to link your domain name to Systeme. And that's possible, but for this tutorial, it's not necessary. There's some other settings you want to take a look, but let's also adjust the mailing settings. For mailing settings here at top, you can authenticate your domain. This allows Systeme to send an email on your behalf, but as your domain. So as if it comes from your domain. I recommend getting this done before running a bigger campaign, as if you don't do it, your emails will have a higher chance of going straight to the receiver's spam box, and you don't want that. Here you can also add where do the emails come from. So I'm just gonna put robert@punchsalad.com. That's my website, and sender name will be Robert from Punch Salad, like this. And for tips, test emails, it will send them to my email like this. That's great. Automatically send the test email. If you save a newsletter, maybe it's not necessary. I'll just always trigger it. Everything else you can keep it. Just remember to save this. Okay, after the visitor signs up, we need to deliver the freebie to them. So let's set up an email that will have a link to a PDF file. And now we are ready with the settings. And we just need to set up a campaign. And that's what we need to do in the email sections. And then click on campaigns. And here you can see it's empty right now, but we can create new one here. Let's give it the name. And description, we don't need it. Save campaign. And now we can go inside this campaign and create a new email. So this is like, the campaign is just like a sequence of emails that get sent after certain trigger. In our case, it will be when people sign up to the freebie, that's when this campaign will start for them. So they're gonna receive multiple emails from us. So let's click on add an email. You can see it already pre-populates. We just need to add a subject line. You can add something like this. And then I recommend using the classic editor because styling things just makes the spam filters a bit more iffy. So the more you style, the more it looks like your promotion. So I really recommend just using the classic editor, just like a normal email. So let's create one. And this is like any other email. You just enter details here. So I have the body already prepared. And what you see here is it's gonna use that person's first name. And if you don't know how to add this, all you have to do is here, substitute variables, and you can select what do you want to use. So for example, right now we are just collecting email and first name. If you click on first name and then OK, you can see it adds this. It will replace this variable, the first name, with the actual first name of the person. So it will say something, hello, Robert, as promised, here's your website launch checklist, blah, blah, blah. We need to make this into a link because that's basically where people can download the checklist. So all you have to do is click on selected text and then click on this link icon. And now we can have a URL. And remember that URL we just saved here in the text editor. We can now copy it and come and paste it in here. And just click OK. Looks good. I think I can save it. And actually, let's go inside and we need to save and publish like this. So it's asking how much you want to delay this. Actually, for the first email, we want it to be immediate. Actually, it takes a few minutes, but just put the 0 and that way the email is sent immediately. And now it's asking after. So we don't have anything right now there. So let's click on publish. And now we can go to our funnel like this. Inside the funnel, opt-in page, we need to click on the automation rules. Here we need to add a rule. Basically, we're going to tell that, hey, whenever somebody submits the form with the first name and email, we want to do something. So, and now we can add an action to this rule. So let's do that. Add an action. And now we can add subscribe to a campaign like this. So we can choose now the campaign. We have that. That's our email, basically. That's the campaign we created. Let's select it. And you could add another action. For example, let's say I want to tag everybody who comes through this or any of other actions. But for this, we don't need. I'm not going to do anything. But you might want to add a tag to these people because that way you'll know that these people came from this specific freebie. Let's save the rule. Never skip the next step, and that's testing the whole flow. Also, preferably use an email that you didn't use to sign up with Systeme, just to see how it works. So how do we do that? Well, easily. We just go to the opt-in page and then we copy the link, and now we can open a new window and go inside of it. And now here, let's just go as if we are the user. So let's download the checklist. All right. Let me add an email that is not my email, or at least the one that I didn't use. Now get the checklist. All right, you can see it goes to the thank you page like this. And now within a few minutes, you will see an email to that email box. So let's take a look. You can see I received the email. And now if I click on this link, it will open up a new window with the PDF, which I can now download here like this. Okay, great. Everything's working. Now we have this person's email and they are in the system. So this flow works perfectly. Okay, great. Let's close these windows. And if we check our contacts like this, I'll open in a new window. You can see that now my email shows up here. I'm going to delete it because we're going to test it later so that it doesn't get confused. So let's confirm and close the tab. Now it's getting a bit more exciting as we will set up a sales page. This is where we will explain our offer and show that we will bring value to the potential buyer. I would find a few existing funnels that you like and then try to see what they are doing well. But don't get hung up on the details. You can always improve as you go. Done is better than perfect. All right, next step is to create the sales page. So just click on create step. Let's give it a name and choose step type. So in this case, it's a sales page. Let's save it. And as usual, you have now a lot of different templates. So really, again, just go through the ones you like, choose one and start building something. In my case, I'm going to use this one here. Select. And let's give it proper URL, something short like this, so that it's easy to share. Because this is the page where you're going to try to convince people to join or buy something from you. Save this and let's edit this page. As you can see, it's super simple page and you have some stuff here at the bottom which we don't need right now. And let's just adjust this. So I'm gonna just delete this thing here. Don't need it. I'm gonna add a new row here on top because this is with 2 rows and I want to with 1 row. So I'm gonna add it here on top like this. And now I can drag this text here. And same thing with the second text like this underneath. And now I can delete this part. Okay. And let me adjust the text. And the text here like this. This one I would like to have that it's underlined just to emphasize it. And then I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. It's just going to be the video. If you click on the video here, you can adjust if it's a YouTube video. So then you can put the YouTube URL here, or you can also use custom embed, either upload a file or just have some sort of direct link. The easiest way is to upload a video to YouTube and put it as unlisted, and that way nobody can find it, but you can use YouTube as your video platform. All the settings look great, nothing you need to adjust here, and then we can start concentrating on the CTA here on the button. So here again, let's change the text. I'm gonna remove this, change it like this. And one thing I don't like about this button is it has very rounded corners. So let me adjust that. And it's here almost at the bottom. You can see that rounded corners. I want to make that to like a 10. Hold all the 4 corners like this. Okay, looks much better now. So now we need some action for this button. So instead of open URL, I want them to just go next step URL. So basically this just means the next step in this funnel. And the next step after this will be a checkout page. So that's what we want. So just save the changes and let's scroll down. There's some things I don't need this whole section here. Let's remove it. Sometimes it's a bit hard like this, but you just need to find the right place. So I'm going to delete both of these sections because I just don't need them. Same thing with this, whatever text here at the bottom, don't need it. And even this one is debatable. So I think I'm just going to delete it as well, like this. So let's now check on mobile. Does it look good? Yep. This part looks good. Yeah, looks good. And then you have some of these icons. They're okay. They're not really good. And also the button is kind of small on mobile. So let's create a bit of space. So I'm going to add a bit of margin, top and bottom, like this. And let's try to make it a bit bigger. So we can make it a full width button like this. And add a bit of top padding. Maybe like 12. Let's add 12. And also bottom like this. All right, looks much better. Now it stands out better. So obviously for this page, you should spend more time than this. This is just for this tutorial, something simple. And the idea here is that people watch the video and then they can start getting results. So I'm going to save the changes here. And what we're selling on this page is actually a book. And that's what the video would talk about. So let's adjust the settings here for the page. And then what do we have here? The most important thing on this page is to adjust the search engine optimization. So we can give it a title, same one that I use already on the page. And then a small description. And now I can upload the book cover. This is not really, this is just for example. I created something. And again, let's uncheck this affiliation like this. Save the changes. Desktop. How does it look? Yep. Looks great. Yep, looking great. Button could use a bit of more space here. So I'm gonna add it also on desktop. 20 and 20 bottom like this. Yeah, I like this. Let's save it and we can proceed to the next step of the funnel. Okay, are you ready for the next step? You should be, because we are going to set up the checkout flow. Ka-ching! Now, before we go to the checkout page, we do need to adjust some settings. So let's go again to account and settings. And here you have the payment gateways. Let's click on it. Here you're able to connect with Stripe or PayPal. I suggest that you do use both, because with Stripe you can pay with credit cards, and with PayPal you can pay with PayPal. So that way you give more options to your users to pay with different payment methods. For this tutorial, I'm just gonna connect with Stripe. It's pretty easy. If you have already an account, you just sign in. And if you don't have an account, just create one, because you can hear as you go. So I'll quickly connect all of this. You can see here at top, there was a message that now Stripe is connected, and you should do the same with PayPal. But for now, I'm just gonna use Stripe. So now we can go inside the funnel that we created and now add a new step. Let's do that. Let's give it the name, simply checkout. And let's select as type the order form, I think it's called. Yes, that one. And now save it. And now you can again choose the template that you want to use. I'm going to use something simple. I like this one where there's also an image that shows. So I'm going to select it. And again, just give it a URL. So checkout also has a few other settings, which is these. This is basically what are you selling. So what is the product you're selling? So resources is something that you can create inside Systeme. Things like, let's take a look. So you have membership courses, you have physical products. That's all things you can add in Systeme.io and then connect that to this checkout. By the way, you're able to create your own courses on Systeme and then promote it with the sales funnel we are building right now. Courses are pretty easy to set up. Just head to the navigation, and then where you see products and sales, just click on courses. All the magic happens there. For the complete tutorial, check out the link in the description. But since we're just creating a one-off product, we don't need this. Let's delete it. And we're going to use the offer price plan. So that's what we're going to use. Let's add one. So now it's asking, well, what are you trying to do here? So we want a one shot, because you also have subscription plan and payment plan. So one shot for us, it's just one-time payment. And here you can choose the price plan, but we don't have any plans. So let's create one here. So this is just for your internal usage. So it could be something simple like this. And then you have the title to the user, and this will show up also in other places. So you better make it a bit more descriptive. And then the statement description is just something that the user will see when the bank takes money from them. They'll see a message, but it's super short. So you can only have 22 characters, I believe. And then you need to select the type of plan. So in this case, it's one shot. And now you can set the amount. Now, one thing is that when testing the whole flow, you cannot have a test account. That means you need to use a real credit card or PayPal account to test it, see if the money goes and things like that. So that's why Book's price is actually $12. But because I want to test this later on, I'm going to put $1 right now. But later on, you'll need to change this. So I'm going to save it as $1. But remember, you need to change this later after you've tested this flow. So let's save. Okay, you can see now there's a new plan here. And here you could also add an order bump, which basically just means that you add some on top of it, some add-ons, something more that people can purchase, or those people that just want even more help. But for this tutorial, we don't need it. Let's save all of this. And now we can go edit the thank you page. So let's start with the settings. And here, if we go down, I want to make sure we have the search engine stuff. We need to do that. Let's do that. And for keywords, we don't really need, this is a sales page, so I don't think this is needed. And then the background also, I want to change it. Let's see if it's the, oh yeah, in this one it's the section. So sometimes the background is actually, you need to go inside the section. So here you can see that you can adjust it. So I believe it was E4. So like this. I'm gonna grab this number because we also need to adjust this section's background so that they match. Nice. So actually, I don't want the counter, but you could adjust this. So if you want a counter here, create a bit of urgency, you can set a delay here. So delay how many days this counts. Also, you could set that it's daily or fixed time and date. So this really depends on your needs. I'm gonna delete this whole thing. I just don't think I need it. Like this. And now I can change the photo here. I use the book so that people know what they're buying. This is kind of big, so I want to make it a bit smaller. Doesn't need to be so large. Something like this. That's perfect. And then there's a lot of stuff that I also don't need. I don't need these quotes or the text. Like this. I'm going to delete it. But these, I kind of like them, so I'm going to add a few benefits. Right? And I'm going to change the typography to Rubik. Actually, it should be same as the page, like this. And now in the settings, we can change the fonts to the correct one. Like this. Let's save the changes just in case. And now you can see, because I only connected Stripe, I only see the credit cards, but if you have also PayPal, you would see it as an option. The rest looks quite good to me. You can see that the plan here is you get the book basically, and it's $1. As mentioned, you need to change that a bit later. Then you have this text. I don't need it. I'm going to delete it. Also this section here. Like this. Yeah. I think that's okay. Let's add this section, bit of margin to the top. It's not glued. And also I want to add the background. Let's save the change and let's take a look on mobile so that everything matches. Yep, this is what you're getting. So confirm the page. All right, this looks a bit weird. And I'm gonna remove the background for this one. So the bullet list doesn't really make sense here. I'm gonna remove it from mobile like this. And I'm gonna make even smaller, the image size even smaller on mobile like this. So now it looks a bit more, looks much better like this. You can save it. Double check in desktop. Looks good. Let's preview this just in case. Okay. All right, everything looks great. So let's save this and go to the funnel. That wasn't so bad, right? So let's now deliver it on the promise and create a thank you page where a customer can then download the product after they made the purchase. So let's create a step, add the name, and for the type, it is the sales thank you page. So under sales, you have thank you page and save. Again, you have few different template options. And I like to use this one because it already has the summary of what people bought. And let's add a URL to this one, like this, and then save this one so we can now edit this page. As usual, we can just adjust it. I don't like this part, so I'm going to delete it. I don't think it's necessary. There's a recap of your purchase. It won't be this price, it's just an example here. And we can remove some of these things. I just don't need it. And actually just gonna delete this one as well. Keep it super simple. Gonna put this text underneath here. And we don't need this. Thank you for your order. Here's the recap. And then the CTA, we need to change that. So for example, this is where people can already download it. So let's try that. Add new text, download the book. And now comes the important part. So again, we need to select the text, any text, make it into a link, and now we can upload a file. So now we can drop a file here, and this is the book. So it's a PDF. And now we can select it. And we can grab the URL. Let's copy the URL. And again, find a text editor or something. This way you can save it for later. We need it in just a second. And now we can use this URL to come to the button and use it as the URL. Because if we go to this URL, you'll see that it's the PDF. This is what the user will get. Okay, great. That works fine. I want to open it in a new window so that they still have this recap. And we can delete this text because it's not needed right now, like this. Save the changes, double check everything looks good on mobile. Yeah, it's kind of short, but it's fine. There's not much you can do. And the most important thing is that people can download their book. So this is all right. I'm gonna adjust the settings. Change the fonts. And then just scroll down. And I don't want to see this affiliate thing. And the rest on the background, need to adjust it to the right one. Like this. Okay, looks better. Save the changes. And now we can preview the page. And it looks great. Very simple. You could also delete this button and instead send an email with the download link to the PDF file. I'll show you quickly how to do that. So let's exit this one and then just head to automations and workflows. Here you can create a new workflow. Let's do it. And let's give it a name, send product to customer, create. And now let's go inside of it. So first thing it'll ask you is, well, what's your trigger? As you can see, there's a couple different options here. For example, when funnel form subscribed, or even a register to webinar or enroll to your course on the system. All of these are different triggers. So in our case, we need the new sale. Let's select that one. And now we can select, well, which funnel are we targeting? So in this case, it's the checkout for website course funnel. Yeah, that one. And then create. And now you can see new sale was made, and then what? Like, then it's asking what's gonna happen next. So we have an action, delay, or decision. For delay, it doesn't make sense in this case because we want to send the product immediately. And the decision is if else question. In this case, we don't need it. We just need an action. It's a very simple workflow. So here, choose an action. Again, a lot of options, but in our case, send an email. So we need to send the email with the PDF. And here you can select one. I have a test email, but you can also create a new one here. Let's do that. So let's give it a subject and then save and edit email. And now you'll see it's just like a normal email that we already covered before. In this case, just write your text and then add the link to this email. So I'm gonna just reuse the same email from before. Hello, first name, as promised. Here is your book, like this. And let's just make this into a link, like this one. And we can grab the URL and place it here, like this. Now it'll take you to the right place. And I'm gonna delete this line, it's not needed. All right, and then just save it. Oh, I forgot the sender here, let's put it in. And then save it. So you can see we have a very simple workflow here, and this is all we need for this tutorial. Workflows are super useful as you are able to automate emails based on subscribers' information, behavior, preferences, and you're even able to tag them based on certain action. So if you're going to set up an email automation flow, such as welcome email or similar, do it in workflows. It's the best place to do it. Okay, we are almost ready, but we're still missing an email that will drive your contacts to the sales page. Now, in this tutorial, we will just create one email, but usually you have 1 to 3 reach out emails that are sent few days apart. In this tutorial, I'm not going to dive into how to write an email and all of that, but I'll leave you a link in the description to a great course on how to write effective sales copy. It comes with an email templates and all of that. I really recommend checking it out. So we need to create another email inside the campaigns. So we have the website launch checklist. So in addition to that, we have one email there. We need to add a few more emails. So in this tutorial, I'll show you one more, but you should add 1 to 3 emails to just follow up with the users about if they want to actually upgrade and buy your book or your digital product. So let's add an email. So for this one, subject line is like this. And again, use the classic editor and create. So with the subject line, I'm trying to create a bit of intrigue, like, okay, if you like the checklist, here's what you're going to love as well. And here I'll explain what that is. So in the body, I actually explain what it is, like this. So again, first name, that's gonna appear as their name there. And then I just explain what's going on. There's a great book, How to Get 25,000 Visitors a Month to Your Website, and that's what I'm promoting as my product. You saw that already. We have a sales page for this. So now what we need is to just make this into a link, and this link has to go to the sales page. So let's right click on the funnels and open in a new tab like this. And now let's go into the funnel and select the sales page. Just grab the URL like this, and now you can come here. Let's create this as a link. Doing this. Let's add the URL, and you can see now if I click OK, this becomes a link. Great. Everything looks good. Let's make this a bit shorter like this, and just the email looks good. I already prepared the text, so I'm happy with it. Now what we can do is save and publish. So you need to now decide when does the email go out. So let's say, I would say 1 day after the first email. So after the checklist has been sent, you follow up with the person 1 day after, or you could say 2 days. Maybe 1 day is too short of a time. Let's say 2 days. And you can also set other things here. So for example, you could say that, okay, only send this email at this certain time, and it will just take your local time or whatever you set in your account settings. Or you could also say, okay, if it's the weekend, don't send the email, but on weekdays, just send it. But in my case, I think it doesn't matter when it's sent, just 2 days after the first email is sent. So let's publish this. You would create at least 1 or 2 more of these follow-up emails where you try to sell or explain what is the value in the thing you're selling. This is the important part. It works the same way. You just create more and you just add more days from the first one. Or you could say 1 day after this email, you follow up. And there's maybe a third email that will then come 2 days after that. So you obviously want to double check that this works. So you can also do it by going into the email and here, save and send a test email. So this will send it to your test email account. Okay, so it says here, okay, it's been sent to this email. So let's take a look. And you can see here, the test email looks like this. Okay, something went wrong here. So this is great that we tested. So I think this is happening because you are not an actual user here. So you're not a contact. So that's why it doesn't know the first name and it keeps like this. So it looks a bit ugly. So you actually need to test with a real sign up. But basically what's the most important here, because you can remove this also if you want to, is this link. So if you click on it, you'll go to the sales page. You can see a proper URL. And I noticed that the title is wrong here, but that's good. That's why I'm testing this. And I need to adjust that. But basically everything else looks good. So the user comes here, they watch the video, so they can play it here. And then if they're happy with it in the video, I would just say, hey, check out click on the button to buy this book or whatever. And now if they click on it, you can see that they go to the checkout. So again, they can add their details. Let's do that. And then if I add my credit card, I'll test this with the $1 offer. And then you can confirm the payment. If you click on that, you'll end up on the thank you page where you can also download the book. So you click on it, here you have the PDF and you can actually download this like this. And on top of that, when you buy something, you also get a receipt from that. So Systeme automatically sends the customer a receipt, so you don't need to worry about that. Oh, wow. If you made it this far, great job. You have now a working sales funnel. Now, obviously, you need to go and tweak it, but just remember, it's better to get it done than getting it perfect. As you can see, Systeme has a lot to offer, so just head to the description of this video and click on the first link and start your free Systeme account right now.